This is why we play, a slogan intertwined with the National Basketball Association. It originates from a campaign the NBA launched at the start of the 2015 season and has stuck since. It fits well. It defines what the association is about. The NBA at times is about making an impact on society, and other times it's about getting a shifty crossover. A sport about putting a round thing inside a round thing sounds simple, but it's so complex, which is why we love it. But let's be real, I'm not watching basketball every single day because I saw some players at a local turkey drive or because I like watching Ayo Dosunmu cook. Alright, not gonna lie, that's a tough move. That's what hooks you in, but that's not what makes you stay. Having something to root for, that's what keeps you in it. Winning games, divisions, playoff series, and championships. Across all sports, trophies are the universal standard of success. That's what we want as fans, for our favorite teams and favorite players to win championships. This is why we play. Well, not us, but the players. That's why they play. That's why every single team right now is working towards winning an NBA championship. Yup, every team. Look, you can scoff all you want. Yeah, clearly the Bucks are in a win now state, but how the hell are the Magic working towards a chip? Well, precisely, they are working towards it. They're not losing just to lose. They are losing now so that they can one day have the opportunity to compete for a championship. That's what it's always been about. That's why the cycle exists. There are teams actively competing to win a championship right now, and then there are those on the opposite end who are rebuilding. Most NBA fans are familiar with this concept, and the cycle continues until the scenarios are flipped. At some point in the future, the Orlando Magic will be the top dogs in the East, and the Milwaukee Bucks will be bottom feeders. Such is the way of the cycle. That's why it's crucial you capitalize on your chances at the top of the cycle. I'll break down, to the best of my knowledge, after some extensive research, how to make a championship roster. Before we get to the obvious, which is, well, players, let's talk about the organization, because that 100% matters. Even if you make the right trades, draft the right pieces, load up on talent, an incompetent coach and a bad environment can ruin a team's chances. Just look at a team like the Lob City Clippers. Building a winning culture is important. Finding a coach who can bring the best out of their players is the first step. At this point, a good front office would enable a team to have some draft capital and tradable assets. The team should also have plenty of young talent to be used or developed, which they should have already developed at this point. These are the foundations. Now let's get to the players. You'll need players, 5 on a court. That's the basics. Then you need 10 guys on a bench. In total, 15 available, give or take. So what kind of players should this ensemble consist of? The winning kind. You need winning players. Now then, what is a winning player? There's 2 parts to answering that question. 1. By definition, a winning player is any player whose performance on and off the court leads to wins for their team. That's simple to understand. Now the second part, how do winning players play? Well, that answer changes with the times. The standard in 1976 isn't the same in 2023 because the game has evolved. What you need in today's game is shooting. A whole lot of shooting. You gotta understand. I'd say, based on just a guesstimate, 70% of guys that play real minutes in the NBA are shooters. If you exclude big men, the number is probably in the 90% range. Everyone can shoot now. Even the non-shooters of today's league are equipped to at least hit a 16-footer. A guy like Ben Simmons is an exception, not the rule. There's just so much more talent in the league. You can argue they're putting up empty stats, but that doesn't matter to us because we're not here to put guys in the Hall of Fame. We're here to win a championship. So what we need is production, not arguments. Padded stats are better than none. The modern NBA is an offensive league. That means you need to harness the state and also counter it. Defense still matters, folks. If you put up 140 but your opponent puts up 142, you still lost the game by possession regardless of how much you put up. So Go to your local lottery team, open up your checkbook, and swoop up their best 3-and-D guy. Somebody who can knock down a corner 3 and slow down the opposing team's superstar on the other end. Preferably get an athletic wing or forward who can switch from 1 through 4, or a hybrid big who can guard 3 through 5. If you're really lucky, you might get a unicorn who can guard 1 through 5. I mean, not really, because there's only like 2 to 3 guys in the league who can do that. Today's defense is all about versatility. Basketball today is positionless. No position has more versatility than the modern forward. Do you know how valuable guys like Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Jaren Jackson are? Go ask teams without them the kind of king's ransom they'd give to have those players. None of the recent champions excluded 3-and-D wings. They thrived off of them, as a matter of fact. Okay, shooters and versatile defenders. That it? No. We also need finishers, rebounders, rim protectors, shot creators, screen setters, ball boys, hot dog vendors. You didn't think it was just 3-point shooting and perimeter D, did you? A championship team is about balance. Having a bit of everything is required. Defense wins championships, offense wins championships. You need both. I'm not saying that to say every strength will win you a championship, but weaknesses will guarantee you don't. Weaknesses are a no-go for champs. A champion must be adaptable and not fall to their flaws, or else they'll be abused and exploited. Weaknesses are for runner-ups. We don't want to be runner-ups. But I said 3-and-D is winning basketball, and it is. You can't prioritize everything equally. It's not realistic. So you need to figure out what is crucial. And these past years, it's been proven that those who can shoot and defend as a team win rings. The Warriors dynasty has exemplified this. The shooting is self-explanatory, but they've always had great, versatile defenders. Andre Iguodala, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and most recently Andrew Wiggins. Even a non-dynasty like the Toronto Raptors in 2019 had these pieces. They had great shooters in Danny Green and Fred VanVleet, and they had versatile defenders in the Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam. If your shooters and defenders can do the little things and balance out your team, you'll be set. I'll go more in depth, and I think I got a good analogy for this. A distributor is a must. We need our point guard. Every ship needs its helmsman, someone to control our offense. This is the one position where ability trumps intangibles. Regardless of a point guard's height, athleticism, etc., he must be capable of playmaking. You don't need a 6-7 point forward, you need someone who can run your offense. Although, they're appreciated. You also need your sixth man. A bench unit cannot function without him. It's not much of a ship without its crew, and what's a crew without its top gunner? Now this player is usually a spark plug on offense. They're the first option while the starters sit. They're usually a pure bucket who can create their own shot, i.e. Jordan Poole and Tyler Hero. But sometimes it's just a guy who can come in and do what you need him to do, like a Pat Connaughton. Now in regards to the bench, the deeper the better. Talent in the second unit guarantees that your team doesn't slow down when your main guys are out. Having a stacked bench is a valuable asset because injuries are part of the sport and you need to know that there are guys who can cover in the absence of one of your core pieces. A good second unit makes your starters' lives simpler, and sometimes they win you games by themselves, and that's crucial around April. Alright, our championship team is starting to come together nicely, but I feel like I'm missing something. Something that pushes this team to the moon. Stars. No pun intended. Stars are what championship teams revolve around. Without stars, even a good team is bound for a first-round exit, say 2019 Clippers. It has always been a star-driven league, and it always will be. Here's a stat. In the past 40 years, besides the 2004 Detroit Pistons, every championship team has featured a top 75 player on their roster. And now that Ben Wallace has been inducted into the Hall of Fame, every single championship team had a Hall of Famer playing for them. Every single one. And for the recent teams, Steph, Bron, Giannis, Kawhi, they're already top 75 and will be first ballot Hall of Famers undoubtedly. Begin the process by getting yourself a budding star first. The ship needs its first mate, the vice captain. No one wins alone, and the more stars you have, the better. And now you can add the final, most important piece and finish this quest for a championship. Go get yourself a superstar. And if you're lucky, you'll end up with 2 of them. Anything more, and you're probably the Golden State Warriors. But you still need a first option. the face of the franchise, find the captain of your ship and set sail for glory. There isn't any archetype for a superstar. You need to be really good. Really good sounds vague, but that's the truth. You don't have to point out a superstar during the game. They usually make their presence known. Again, the objective of the game is to put the round thing in the round thing and prevent the opposition from doing so. And superstars do that better than anyone else. They don't change with the times, they're rarities, and the only similarity is that they've mastered the craft. That's a transcendent talent, a superstar. What these guys provide can be stumbled upon. You're lucky if you can get your hands on one, because there's no more than a dozen at any given time. Creating a championship team is a blood pact paid with time and sweat. You've built up a roster that's deep with winning players who are adaptable and balanced. You found some stars to boost your artillery, and you finished with the Superstar Edition. You can now go win an NBA championship. But beware, you're not the first to think of this, and there's others who have taken the exact steps you have. All you can do now is hope you've done enough to beat them. Nothing is guaranteed, but somebody's gotta win, right? That's why we play. Thanks for watching.